Well, are limiting beliefs holding you back? Dr. Josh Axe joins us to share how replacing limiting beliefs with empowering truths can help us break free from fear in his newest book, Think This, Not That. If you're enjoying Table Talk, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Remember to click that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest posts. Well, are limiting beliefs holding you back? Well, today's guest joins us to share how replacing limiting beliefs with empowering truths can help us break free from self-doubt, optimize our potential, and lead us on a journey of personal transformation. But before we get to that, joining me around the table is Kendra Kelly Dean. Are you ready?
Hey, I am so ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this. And it is true, though. Sometimes we create tapes in our mind, and then we play those over and over, and we can be our own worst enemy.
So true.
So I'm excited to learn how to erase those and begin some new ones
Yeah.
that are healthier.
It's so good. It's so good. And also welcome to the table, de Havilland Ford. The battle really is in the mind a lot of times, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and we live so limited, so we need people to come along and teach us how to unlock that, to take us to the next level.
That's right. Rachel Ann Brown, are you ready?
I'm ready.
To have awesome, empowering thoughts?
Here's the thing, our thoughts determine our beliefs determine our actions, and our actions determine our quality of life. So if we want our quality of life to change, we have to first change our thoughts. So
Right.
It's literally so powerful. And that's why the Bible talks about renewing our mind daily.
That's right. It's so
The
true.
stuff gets up in there. We gotta get rid of it.
That's good. Rebecca Lamb Weiss, is that important? The mind, in renewing it like Rachel was talking about?
Yeah, I would say the battle happens in the mind. The enemy wants to get into our thoughts. If you don't know that, that is a life-changing thing to understand, because a lot of times people will be hearing the enemy and they don't realize they think it's themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So, when it talks about in Romans to have your mind renewed, it actually uses the word in Greek. It means repentance. It's to repent, change the way you think. And so God has called us to change and turn away from our old way of thinking and put on that heavenly mindset.
That's right, because when we have the power of God living on the inside of us, Cindy, it really is wrong to have those kind of thoughts, knowing that He's empowering us every day.
It totally is, because I do believe, like similar to what Rachel was saying, we will live out our belief. Whatever we believe, good or bad, we will live into that, and it will affect our life and our health, our mental life, everything.
Well, today's guest is a certified doctor of natural medicine and clinical nutritionist and co-founder of Ancient Nutrition Whole Food Supplements. He's also the author of Think This, Not That, 12 Mind Shifts to Break Through Limiting Beliefs and Become Who You Were Born to Be. Please welcome our dear friend, Dr. Josh Axe is here. Welcome. So good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here.
I'm excited about your book. It's already on the New York Times bestseller list.
Yeah, it is.
Think This, Not That. You ladies are going to be fascinated to hear his story and exactly where he was when he started writing this book. But let's go back just a little bit, because I don't know that you shared a lot of your personal testimony, but just go back a little bit when your mom was diagnosed.
Yeah, so when I was 13 years old, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was really shocking to us because she looked very healthy. She was 41 years old, and at the time, my family lived in what I call the conventional medical system. Anytime we were sick, we took drugs. That's just what we did. We didn't know any better. And so she went through all the conventional medical treatment. She had a mastectomy. She went through rounds and rounds and rounds of chemotherapy.
Oh my gosh.
And I can still remember her losing her hair and how sick she got. And, we felt really fortunate, though. She eventually was diagnosed as being cancer-free and healthy. However, going through that experience, there's a couple things I thought at the time. One is I want to help people. Like, I want to help people like my mom who are sick. And the other thing was there has to be a better way.
Yes.
And so that really kicked off my journey to start learning about natural medicine and healing. And so she lived without cancer for a good period of time. Now, about a year after that, I was in school. I was a freshman in high school, and I had a teacher. I was not a very good student, and I had a teacher ask me to stay after class. And she said, Josh, what do you want to do after high school? And I said, well, I want to be a doctor. And she laughed at me literally out loud, and she said, listen, she said, my daughter had a 3.8 GPA. She barely got into Ohio State Med School. She said, with your GPA, you'll be lucky to get into any school. She's like, I'd pick something else. And she said, by the way, you're getting a D in my class. You got an F on this paper. You need to try harder. A couple of weeks later, then I go into a doctor and I get diagnosed with ADHD. So I feel like, well, not only am I not smart, there's like medically something wrong with me to be able to learn right. And so I just sort of gave up the dream of becoming a doctor. I barely graduated high school. The only reason I graduated is I knew my dad would just be irate if I didn't graduate.
no.
So graduated and got denied by most colleges. One college though said, hey, if you come and you take summer class and you average above a 3.0, we'll let you in. I said, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try. And first class I had was English 101.
English is back.
Again. And I said, okay, I'm really gonna give it my best. And the first big assignment was a paper. And so I turned it in. A few days later, the teacher said, Josh, can you stay after class? And I thought, it was like deja vu. I was like, oh no. Yeah. And she said, what's your major? And I said, well, I haven't chosen one. She said, well, I think you should consider being an English major or journalism major because you got the highest grade in the class.
Wow.
This paper is really well done. Great job. Yeah, and for me, it was literally like my book, I call it a memory transplant, is I had this memory and this narrative of you're not smart enough, you're good enough, you can't be a doctor, to now I had a teacher tell me, you're a great writer, you can do this. And it's sort of like removing a diseased organ. A lot of us have these diseased beliefs that are keeping us from living our best life. It's keeping us from being closer to God. They're damaging our relationships. They're keeping us from great health. And we need to replace those, go through that process. When I was able to do that, eventually I went to Johns Hopkins University, graduated with a 3.9 GPA. Yeah, I've written some books, started a company, done some other things. But none of those would have happened if I would have held on to those limiting beliefs. And there's so many people watching this who they have a limiting belief that's keeping them stuck in life.
You know, I'm thinking about this is crazy. Do you remember that game we used to play, Operation?
Oh, yeah.
And you couldn't touch the sides?
Yes.
You know, there was that limiting belief that needed to come out, and you needed to replace it with the truth of not only what God had put in your heart, but what God knew that you could do.
That's right.
And so that's incredible. Now, at some point, your mom was diagnosed with cancer a second time.
Yeah.
So take us through that.
Yeah, coming full circle, my mom was diagnosed again. This was right before I was about to graduate and open up my own functional medicine practice in Nashville. And when she got this diagnosis, we prayed about it. We felt led to take care of her all naturally. And so we did. She started juicing vegetables. Her diet was pretty much vegetable juice, bone broth, berries. I mean, it was very, very clean. We had her do turmeric, reishi mushroom, vitamin D, a lot of time outdoors. And I have a podcast, and I just went and did an episode on tamoxifen. And so it's a medication that you take for treating cancer. What they're finding, though, with the cancer treatments is it will kill one type of cancer in that area, but it increases cancer in every other area of your body. And so most people, this is new research, is just coming out that if you take anything for cancer, any of these conventional treatments, you're increasing your likelihood of cancer. So it may save your life for a year, but long term, it's worse.
You know, and I know from the doctors that I've interviewed and other oncologists as well that I know God can use conventional medicine. He can use holistic medicine. He uses prayer. I've seen him perform miracles. And you have to pray individually about what the Lord is leading you to do. But you took this route with your mom because you both felt a peace about doing it this way. What happened?
Well, my mom, she healed cancer. We had the oncologist called, they redid a CT scan after following this program. And I just remember it very clearly because she asked me, she said, what have you been doing? And I shared it with them. And it's almost like they did not want to hear it.
Yeah.
And their exact words were, well, this is highly unusual. We don't typically see this, but the tumors have shrunk in half. We want to see you get in 9 months. 9 months later, complete remission. And now my mom is in her 70s. She's bringing her grandkids to Disney World. It's amazing.
And she teaches women how to make green smoothies.
She does, and God always uses pain for purpose. And so, she teaches other women how to fight cancer with meals.
Now, you've helped thousands of people. I mean, because you really focus on getting to the root of what's going on, not just treating the symptom.
Yeah.
And sad to say, pharmaceuticals There's good medicine, I know that, but there are other medications out there that treat the symptom and don't treat the root. And people are addicted to medicine their whole life. We think there's no other answer, when in reality, there's a lot of things God has put on the earth to bring about healing in our body. Is that true?
It's true. You know, one of the things I mentioned my podcast, and I did an in-depth episode on this too, and this is one of the things that most people don't realize. When people take a conventional medication, they think that every possible side effect is listed on the label. It's not. Here's the side effect that's missing: nutritional deficiencies that medications cause. There's not a single medication that you take that doesn't deplete your body of nutrients.
Yeah.
Here's an example of one that is the #1 prescribed, or at least one of the top 10 prescribed medications for young girls. It's birth control. Birth control depletes your body of every B vitamin, including folate. So when you get pregnant, there's a greater chance of birth defects. Depletes your body of magnesium, the most important mineral in your body. Also depletes your body of probiotics. The #1 side effect of getting off of it is candida and yeast overgrowth within the body. So really, even baby aspirin, it's like, you know, that depletes your body of magnesium. Metformin depletes your body of coenzyme Q10, statins of a numerous nutrients. All that being said, you know, I think that there's so many, people don't realize how damaging conventional medications are to the body, and there's almost always a natural approach. It's like if you have a heart issue, turmeric and coenzyme Q10 and fish oil and more antioxidants, like these are things that don't have side effects, and you typically long-term will get better results with them.
You know, something happened to you recently that really rocked your world.
Yeah.
And out of it, you know, I talk about how, you know, we all go through trials and we all go through storms. This was a big storm that you went through.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what happened and really how this book was born.
Yeah. So I injured my back weightlifting. I was just, you know, lifting a little bit too much, and I had just a little bit of pain in my back. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go in and get something done. I had it done once before, saw great results with it, called stem cell therapy. And basically, they take your own bone marrow. There's other ways to do it. I had it re-injected in my disc. It's all natural procedure. However, whenever they were doing it, something happened, and I started feeling worse and worse and worse every day for 3 months. Finally, one morning I woke up, and I was in so much pain, I couldn't even walk. Had to have an ambulance come and pick me up. It was so traumatic, too, because not more for my family, because I have a 2-year-old daughter. She's crying and upset. I got brought to the hospital to get an MRI, and the report comes back and it says I have an infection in my spine. Not only is it my disc, it's gotten in my vertebra, causing osteomyelitis. There's an abscess by my spinal cord. And I sat down with the doctor and he said, Josh, he said, best case scenario, you're gonna be in pain, chronic pain the rest of your life, and you'll be the first person when bad weather comes through. He said, worst case, you're gonna be permanently disabled. Now, I just went a few months earlier and this wasn't even a procedure I had to get done. I just thought, well, it's gonna help me heal faster. And I thought, well, you know, hearing that from the doctor, and then I go online, I'm gonna search, well, what's the...
Oh no, you went online?
Well, yeah, and I know better. And it's like, you know, not good.
That's not
It's
good.
not good. And so there are emotions I can say I'd never experienced before: despair and hopelessness for about 24 hours. After one day of that, I woke up and I realized this is not serving me, and I have a God that's bigger than this.
Yes.
And so I really had to fix my eyes on Jesus. I had to really, you know, claim and know that I was going to be healed. And so I just determined in that moment, I will be healed 100%. And I'll be back in the pool throwing my, you know, 2-year-old, you know, daughter up in the air.
You actually visualized that in your mind.
I did.
You put those thoughts in your head. I will stand up and throw her in the air and catch her.
That's right.
Even though at that moment you couldn't even hardly walk.
Yeah, you know, there's an interesting study on this, by the way, too, that it's called amplifying the placebo. And when we think of the placebo effect, this is from World War I, when people were given sugar pills rather than morphine, and they experienced the same amount of pain relief as if they were taking morphine. So that's pretty incredible.
Wow.
And so in this study, they found that you can amplify the placebo effect by not only believing and visualizing you'll be healed, but number 2 is attaching emotion to it. So really experiencing joy and excitement and knowing, God, you are going to heal me. Like I am experiencing right now that future joy and the fulfillment of what God's doing. And then the third thing was having a plan in place in order to achieve it. So all those things would help. And so I did that. And
you found out that it was a bizarre thing that happened. The needle, there was something with the needle, like 1 in a million that this could happen.
Yeah, this is another thing I looked at. Well, how often does something like this happen where you get this infection? And it was literally like 1 in a million.
So it was like the needle wasn't sterilized properly?
Well, we're not 100% sure. So we're not sure that could have been the case. Now, I do know they did sterilize it well, but still, it can happen. I mean, again, it's 1 in a million, but it can happen. And so I started doing everything I could as well to heal. And so I started getting in a hyperbaric chamber every day. My diet was pretty much meat and vegetables. It was about the only thing I ate. And berries.
Yeah.
I started taking, supplements, everything from turmeric to reishi mushroom, loads and loads of high-dose probiotics. And I did this for months. I was supposed to be on antibiotics for 3 months. Through these natural therapies, I was only able to do it. I was able to cut it down to 4 weeks. And finally, it took a couple weeks, and finally I felt 1% better. And then I thought, okay, I'm healing now.
1%.
1%.
Hey, you were going to hang on to that 1%.
I was. And by the way, it felt so slow.
What month was it at that point? Like you're diagnosed, are you in the first, second, or third month?
No, November. This is my 4th month of not walking.
This is your 4th month of not walking.
Yeah.
Now people have to understand, like, this was not an overnight. This is going to be a journey. We're not done yet.
This is a
So
trial.
you're in the 4th month. You have a 1%. Then what happened?
Then I kept getting 1% better about a week. And I thought at some point I'm gonna get 5% better, 10%. No, it was 1% better a week. So it took me 10 months to be able to walk. Wow. And then I was on a walker for 2 months. And so this time last year, I was not walking yet. So I started walking in May.
Wow.
And
everybody would say, Dr. Josh Axe, who has helped all of these people, and this is happening to him. But while you're in that process, is this when you started writing the book?
Yeah, so I wrote the book when I was in that process. And I had a friend come up to me and he said, it was visiting me, and he said, hey, what have you been doing since you've been bedridden? And I said, well, I've been taking these courses and doing this and writing a book. And he goes, if it were me, I'd just be eating Cheetos and drinking Mountain Dew all day. But this is where, we all have a great sense of purpose. We know we're called to do things for the kingdom of God. We don't want to waste our talents, right? And so I really knew that deep in my heart that this book, just like my mom's cancer story and her healing would help people heal, I knew that this book, it's less eat this, not that. It's more think this, not that. And it's less food is medicine, it's more mindset medicine.
So what were a couple of the statements that you wrote in the book that were contrary to your situation as you were writing it?
This is, I think this is interesting as well, but our beliefs are so important, something called neuroplasticity. I get into in the book how you can actually start rewiring your brain in order to heal itself. Your brain will start creating new neural pathways, sending growth factors in order for something to heal. So I really get into that in one of those chapters and exactly how to do that. And in terms of, I'm trying to think of things that are sort of, there were a lot of things contrary to how I was feeling.
Right. Yeah.
Because again, if anyone that's experienced some sort of trauma in their life, you'll know it's just the negative just wants to constantly creep in.
Sure.
And I realized anytime I'm just spending time online, looking up more about my condition. Nothing positive came of that. The only thing that positive came was when I was reading the Bible or was around positive, encouraging people. I mean, that's where the positive came in. But yeah, this, the book was really created to help people experience those breakthroughs in their life.
You had to be so intentional.
Yeah.
Yes, very intentional.
Even when you were in pain, even when you couldn't get up.
Because the thing is, if you're not intentional, your mind is filled with negative.
Yeah.
That's sort of the default.
So good. It's so good. Here's some of the things that you were writing as you were going through this. Create a breakthrough by unlimiting your beliefs.
Yeah.
And these are 12 of the mindsets. Redefine success by becoming, not accomplishing. Become self-aware to get where you need to go. Rewrite your role in the story. Assemble a team to fulfill your dreams. And I mean, all of these visualize to realize.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that God showed you out front that you begin to visualize that you couldn't do at that moment?
Yeah. So one thing I started really focusing on, because this is the thing I was doing days before this happened, is my daughter and I both love swimming, my 2-year-old. Now she's almost 4. She turns 4 later this month. But was throwing her in the air in the pool.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing I visualized over and over and over again, seeing me just playing with her, doing all those things I love to do. And I pictured myself
Riding your
doing
bike again?
triathlons again. Yeah, swimming, biking, and running. Going on date nights with my wife Chelsea. Us doing a trip to Europe, which we're now scheduled to do because we love Italy and Italian food, and so.
Okay, so in a year, like where are you at right now? Because this just happened. I mean, it's not like
How long ago did it happen to you?
About 2 years
2 years ago.
Wow.
But yeah, this time I still wasn't walking yet last year. And so, and one of the other things I got to visualize that I wanted to do was I officiated my sister-in-law's wedding. They got married in June. That was the first time I really walked on my own was June.
wow.
And so that was another thing that just really.
What about not allowing people in the space that are going to say negative things to you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Now, I did a podcast on this not long ago. It was a pretty popular title on YouTube, and it was, You Need to Fire Your Friends. And I was only half joking, but it really is important. I was doing this interview with Dave Ramsey. He was on my podcast, and I shared with him, and he shared this with me. He said, your income, on average, they did a study, is of the 10 people you spend the most time with. That becomes your average income almost across the board.
Wow.
But the same is true. Your average health will be the average of the people of the health of the people you spend time with.
That's
Amazing.
So interesting.
Yeah, there was a study on Duke University that said the fastest way to get healthy, it wasn't nutrition or these other things, it was hang out with more disciplined people than you are.
Oh, wow.
And so I
I'm
started.
married to a very disciplined person now. Don't I look really help?
You do. All of you do.
It's actually
So-
true.
It is.
So I am. My biggest life lesson is we become who we surround ourselves with. And so I was very intentional about who I let into my space, having really those encouragers, those prayer warriors, those people that are rooting for you. I have amazing inner circle. of
What
friends.
was the mindset that you had to get rid of?
Oh, goodness gracious. Here is something that was really impactful for me, and this is two people in my life really influenced me with this. My grandfather and my father-in-law both have passed away. But when I look at their lives, they're two of the people I admire most in this entire world. And when I think about their life, I do not think about any of their achievements. I only think about who they were as a person.
So good.
And so for me, I think sometimes when a lot of us are ambitious, we're motivated, we want to achieve things and accomplish things, like I think I am more focused now on who I become, more on any accomplishments, and I think that's very biblical in nature too. We're not called to achieve what Christ achieved. We're called to become like Him, and so I think more than anything, that's my mindset now.
I love that.
Well, I want you to stay right there. We're going to be right back right after this break.
Imagine facing a storm so vast, it threatens to engulf everything you've built. Would you falter, or would you find strength you never knew you had?
When a hurricane is tearing through your life, Jesus is the peace that stills the waters of your soul.
This is a story, a journey of faith, sacrifice, and victory witnessed by millions. It's a tale of navigating life's fiercest tempests and discovering that sometimes the most profound truths are born in the heart of the storm.
Pain and disappointment don't have to define you. And if you'll cling to God, He will use your storm to propel you into a new future.
Get your copy now at daystar.com/shop.
Oh, we're back with our dear friend, Dr. Josh Axe. His book, Think This, Not That. Kendra, I know this has been a blessing to you. Just mentally, how many people are suffering, how this could help them?
Oh, so many. So many people can change their thought process just by this book. One of the things that I loved that you mentioned was you really honed in on self-awareness.
Yeah.
And you can either let that consume you and take over, or you said that you can, here's the facts, and you can make a choice to move beyond that. And so if you could just say a little bit of something about how important it is to recognize those blind spots and then how to move forward out of those with your self-awareness.
Yeah, in the book, I hit on and break down the study. It's called the Batman study in the book. And basically, it's that most people are not fully aware of who they could become. And what they find in this study is if you were able to really tap into the greatness that God's put within you, your talents, your strengths, all of those things, and start acting like that person now, you can become greater than most people imagine. Again, most people look at people today like whether everyone from Elon Musk to Billy Graham and think, well, I couldn't be that person. Most people are capable of doing far greater things than they realize.
Yeah, and I think the really important thing is to connect to the one who created us.
Yes.
Right.
Because he knows what he's deposited on the inside of us to have on.
Yeah, and I was just going to add, I know there's people watching that maybe feel like they're too late in life, they're too old, they have a sickness. How can they start today by making just small changes to better their health?
Well, that's an example of limiting belief. I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm not smart, whatever it is. And so I would say is write down, what's your number one limiting belief? What is that thing that you know is holding you back, that wrong thinking, and replace it right now. Take the thought captive and renew your mind, and that's going to be powerful. I'd also say get the book.
Yeah, that's so good. And it's just so good, I think, to be able to share something with you that can help you. Because some of you, the battle is in your mind and you don't even realize, and you haven't even really thought about it. But all of us sitting here can think about something we've thought about ourselves that we need to take the little tweezers of the operation game and pull out and then replace it with what God says about us.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the really important things that, I can say to you right now. If you don't know the Lord, that is the most important decision you can make, because then you can begin on this journey with someone who will be with you. The Word of God tells us, Jesus said, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. And just invite him in and just say, hey, God, if you're there, I need you. Okay, well, we are out of time. I want you to remember, even if you feel stuck in your journey and your God-given purpose appears beyond reach, listen, God is ready and able to help you and transform you by the renewing of your mind. His promise gifts you with hope to live a life filled with purpose. I just want to say this. I feel like there's somebody watching that you just feel like, I have made so many mistakes. You do not even know what a mess my life is right now, Joni. Well, you know what? The Word of God says, Jesus said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest and peace. And he wants to give that to you today if you will just surrender your heart to him right now. Everything is going to change, okay? So don't use that excuse. That is a lie, and it's not truth. You need to replace it with, you know what? God loves me. He has a purpose for me, and I'm going to cast that thing out right now. Sometimes I'll do this with Rebecca and Rachel. These are my two girls right here, and they'll have a wrong thought. I'll say, here, give it to me. Give it to me. And she'll give it to me, and then we throw it up in the air and get rid of it. Well, if you're watching today and you want to release the unbiblical mindsets that are holding you back, call the number on your screen. Our prayer partners are standing by. We count a privilege to pray with you. I want to thank Dr. Josh Axe again for joining us today. Again, get a copy of his new book. I'm going to read this one. I can't read every book because I interview hundreds of people.
He has a lot of interviews.
Think this, not that, 12 mind shifts to break through limiting beliefs and become who you were born to be. He's also offering a 20% discount off all Ancient Nutrition products for our viewers. To take advantage of that discount, use the promo code JoniSave20, Joni Save 20 at ancientnutrition.com. For more information on Dr. Axe's work, you can visit joshaxe.com. He's very well known, in many spheres. And as always, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. You can leave us a comment to let us know how Table Talk is touching your life. And of course, we love hearing from you. And you want to make sure that you subscribe to the Joni Table Talk podcast. It's available right now across all top podcast apps. Thank you so much for watching. A few of those, just give you a little hint of those products, the Trinity probiotic that you have. It's like a pre and pro and post, I think.
Right.
It was
You
three
got it.
working together
You got it.
and really helps with gut health. And then vitamin D, which we are all deficient in, 20% discount. And we just want to be a blessing to you. And he's doing that to be a blessing to you. So thank you so much for watching. We love you. I'm excited about your future. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today.